Autumn comes early along the northern border of the United States, and winter is close behind. A time for change, and a time for fear and caution. For this is the season of predators. Enemies and killers like the timber wolf and man.
Sounds like somebody just got his buck. This'll be strong enough to hold our buck when we get him.
Do we have to drag him around after we shoot him?
Can't just leave him lying. That's not right, Mark. You get him back here and dress him out. You're gonna get a real education this weekend. I've been looking forward to our first hunt together for a long time, son. A good hunter cleans his gun every morning and after every kill.
I know, Dad. You told me lots of times.
I'll remember it. I'm gonna make a good shot out of you.
Sure, Dad.
You remember all the things I told you about how to be a good hunter? The right kind of hunter?
Kill the game clean, take only what you need, and try never to wound an animal.
Right. Also know the habits of the animals. Shoot only in the fall or winter after they've raised their young.
And shoot only the male.
Good, good. You're learning.
Are the rules the same for birds like those?
Nobody'd want to shoot them, son. They're not game birds. They're plovers. Maybe sandpipers, flying south for the winter.
Might be some ducks or geese with them.
No, only birds of one kind fly in a flock.
What if they were game birds?
Well, then this would be the right time to get one. He'd have a lot of fat stored up for his long trip. Yep, they're golden plovers, flying all the way to South America, from the top of the world to the bottom.
And now it's time for their incredibly long annual migration back to South America. The land pulses with wing beats as colony after colony deserts its summer home. A powerful instinct warns them winter is coming, and they will starve if they stay. The young ruddy turnstone isn't always eager to begin his first long-distance flight, even with powerful instinct and a determined adult urging him. Hundreds of thousands of birds have now left and are in the air, winging their way southward in huge flocks. Only one bird still stands alone, unwilling to leave. For the Eskimo curlew, something is wrong, terribly wrong. Each spring, he has hopefully made the long flight up from South America. Each summer, he has waited, and each fall, he has lingered on, the last one to leave, because no mate has ever come to him. All around him, birds of many kinds have found mates and raised families. Why does no mate come to him? Why does he never see even one other of his own kind? Day after day, he protects his territory and holds it ready for the mate who will surely come very soon. Instinct pulls at him powerfully, warning him it is time to leave, but not until the last moment. Somewhere nearby, there may still be a female curlew. There must be. Hour after hour, he sends his mating call out across the wasteland, and always it's unanswered in the vast loneliness. Winter is approaching fast. The urge to leave is now driving him, compelling him. He can wait no longer, maybe next year. He has started. His long, lonely migration has begun. The curlew must fly from the vast, half-frozen marshlands of the Arctic. down over forbidding mountains and dense forests, and still farther down the endless reaches of the Atlantic Ocean, a flight stretching the length of 2 continents. A long, grim journey of storm, foe, and death. And always he is alone. Never does he see another one of his kind.
Dad, look at that bird. Man, he's a beauty. Look at those long, curved wings. Wonder why he's flying all alone.
Maybe he's too weak to keep up with the others.
But you said birds always fly with their own kind.
Oh, not if they're weak. Other birds don't waste time on weak and sickly ones.
I don't think he's weak. Look how strongly his wings beat.
Well, it could be he's a straggler, got lost in a storm.
Is it another plover?
No, not a plover. I don't recognize him. But he'll catch up with his family in a hurry. He's a fast one.
Maybe he hasn't got a family.
Now, Mark, what have I been teaching you? Every animal, every fish, every bird, that's all they know. Just to eat and sleep and have a family.
Yes, every wild creature has a mate and a family and a flock. Then why must the Eskimo curlew always fly alone? He has the same strong yearning to be part of a flock as the other birds. The desire is almost as strong as his longing for a mate. Now and then his wings bite into the hard, spiraling airstream left by the wings of migrating flocks ahead of him, and his heart beats faster. Can they be curlews? He flies at full speed and catches them easily. Sandpipers. Should he join up with them just to be with somebody? It's no good. The curlew is a superbly strong flyer, and the sandpipers are much too slow for him. Throughout the night, he swiftly passes flocks of migrating birds. Sanderlings, godwits, dowagers, yellowlegs. None of them fly as fast as he does. With the first yellow-gray flush of dawn, the curlew sets down for food and rest. He's so hungry after his first all-night flight that he doesn't notice just a small, soundless dot passing high overhead in the brilliant morning sky. A female curlew. At her great height, she doesn't see the lone male far below, the mate that may be the only one in the world for her. Could it be more curlews? The flock formation and flight pattern can only be curlews. Again, his overwhelming desire and anxiety have deceived him. These are golden plovers. But they seem friendly, and they are the one bird that flies as fast as he does. Maybe they'll let him join up with them. They set a southeasterly course for Labrador, 1,500 miles away, the last pause before their non-stop flight to South America. He's still a stranger among foreigners. He still yearns for his own kind. But at least he'll have companionship on the long journey ahead. For 2 weeks, the birds gorge themselves on the crowberries of Labrador. It will be their last food for a long time. They will need every ounce of strength for what lies ahead of them. A long journey of almost 3,000 miles and fantastic difficulties. The curlew is torn between two torturing desires, to wait and to move on. There is still that deep longing for his own kind. A flock of Eskimo curlews may yet come along. Gulls, long black lines of eider ducks, stubby-winged, clumsy auks and murres, more golden plovers, but never another curlew. A powerful instinct surges through him, and he no longer has a choice. It is time to start the long ocean flight to South America. He has proved that he is the strongest flyer, and now the entire flock allows him to take the lead for the perilous journey over the sea. The sea, the beginning of a torturous 2,500-mile non-stop oceanic flight. There will be no land along the way, not one moment to stop and rest. No possibility of return. They will fly on, and another day and another sunset will come. 48 hours, and the same vacant sea will still be there below them. The curlew knows, too, that he and his flock are creatures meant only for land and air, and the calm, friendly-looking sea can sometimes be hostile and cruel. Their flight will be in V formation. Each tip of the curlew's wing trails a current in the air and gives a lift to wings of the plovers just behind him. And their wings, in turn, help the next ones in line. Each stroke of the curlew's wing is an intricate series of actions merged with split-second timing into a single, smooth movement that keeps him airborne. How does this simple feathered creature understand the art of aerial navigation across a vast, uncharted ocean? How does he know direction and altitude and all the science of aerodynamics? The thermal updrafts from the land reach him on the right side, so he knows that is west. The cool air rising to brush him on the left means the ocean, and so that is east. When he can no longer hear the surge of the waters below, he knows he is flying at the right altitude. He knows all this and more. Only one thing torments him and is beyond his comprehension. Why is he always alone? When he was young, there were other curlews. And 100 years ago, thousands upon thousands of Eskimo curlews made the annual migration south. Strong northeast winds sometimes blew them off their course and over the beaches from Labrador to Cape Cod. Then, the hunters had a field day. A man could bag 100 birds before breakfast. The kill was staggering. By the year 1890, there were only half as many Eskimo curlews, but they still drifted over the eastern coast in fairly large numbers. In places like Nantucket, It literally rained curlews. Hunters said the birds were stupid. When some were shot down, the others came back to see what happened. So many were killed that hundreds were simply left to be washed away by the sea. 20 years later, only a single flock of curlews showed up now and then. Man became more clever and hunted them by night now with lanterns and clubs. He called it sport and said the killing was good because it thinned out the flocks and improved the species by eliminating the weak and the old. Now, only one curlew flies far out over the Atlantic, leading a flock of plovers southward on the annual migration. And although man today has finally established strictly controlled hunting laws and seasons, nature has her own way of thinning the flocks and eliminating the weak. The storm is moving south with them. There is only one way to get out of it. The curlew knows they must turn and fly eastward to mid-Atlantic, many miles off their course. They must drop down again to gain speed, down closer to the unseen icy sea that may be anywhere beneath them. The curlew's breast muscles and wing tendons ache and burn from the tremendous strain. He knows he's strong enough to weather the storm, but are the plovers? And now the thing he fears most, that hissing sound, the boiling, raging ocean. They're dropping dangerously low. They've outrun the eye of the storm, but now they must keep flying eastward, farther off their course, farther out to sea, trying to lose the violent wind that presses them down, down. Unlike man, when nature kills, it is for a reason. One weak bird can pull the whole flock down. They have beaten the storm, but are far out at sea and hundreds of miles off their course. It has used up vital energy they need for the long flight still ahead. The weaker ones are gone, and now they can push ahead faster. but they are wing-weary and exhausted and still must fly 2,000 miles to Venezuela before they can set down for rest. Will they make it? Do they have enough left? Did the storm take too much out of them? They have flown without rest or food for almost 60 hours. The strain and exertion are almost unbearable. It's only a question of time now until they begin to drop, one by one, down through the sea of clouds to whatever lies below. The sound of the ocean, but it's a different, friendly sound. The rumble of surf along the coastline. Without seeing it, the curlew knows they are now over land. Land at last. Well, not quite land. A dense tangle of mangrove swamp. And landing here is as impossible as on the open sea. A temptation the weary curlew must fight to resist and fly on with the last reserve of his strength. But the exhausted plovers have little left. Their wings have beat steadily and their stomachs have been empty for 60 hours. They've reached it, the broad, treeless valley of the great Orinoco in Venezuela. The curlew has spanned the length of a continent since his wings were last still. While they aren't his own family, or even his own kind, the curlew feels a warm glow of pride in having brought most of the plovers safely through. For several months, the flock works its way south down to the pampas of Argentina, eating constantly and growing fat again. But the curlew's urge still compels him to go much farther south. He tries to rouse his plover friends, but they are content here. The urge of migration is dead for them. They'd be pleased to have him stay with them forever, but the curlew is helpless to resist the inner force that compels him. He must complete his journey. Once again, he flies alone. And once again, he has missed the female curlew by only a moment. Flying the length of an enormous world, can two such small, feathered creatures ever hope to meet?
We'll get our buck this trip, Mark.
We've been following him an awful long time.
But we're getting close. His tracks are fresh. Quiet. Real quiet. There he is. A beauty. Get your gun, Mark. Slow and easy now. Oh, this is something you'll be bragging to your grandchildren about. A 5-point buck. Come on, he won't wait all day for you. Shoot, boys, shoot! I just can't figure you, Mark.
I was gonna shoot, Dad, but my finger wouldn't work.
Oh, you just got bug fever. Now let me explain something, Mark. Everything in the forest kills something else. The wolf kills the deer. The fox kills the rabbit, the squirrel, and pheasant. The bear kills the fish and the bees. It's called the balance of nature, son. Keeps everything in check, see?
I guess so.
We just keep nature balanced. The only thing we can't shoot are those birds that fly south every winter. And that's why there's so many of them.
So many? In Patagonia, far down at the lower tip of South America, there is one, only one. He's been here for weeks, and now the old vague hunger and loneliness is beginning to torment him. He remembers again that he lives alone, in a world to which other members of his own kind never come. And once more, he feels the first faint call of the Arctic tundra, 9,000 miles to the north. He yearns for home again, for the nest where he was born, for the place where his mate will surely come this year. This spring, when the call of the Arctic tundra grows too strong to resist, the curlew flies proudly northward with a mate at his side. He feels as if he has been reborn and is starting another life. All night long they talk, making plans for their northern home and their family. Many times the couple sets down to feed among flocks of golden plovers, but they have no desire to join them. Their own companionship is complete and satisfying. They prefer to fly alone, and they both know the land route north to the Arctic, as well as they knew the ocean route south. He enjoys having someone to care for, and she enjoys having a leader. The peaks of the towering Andes are still far above them, but a storm is brewing. It would be suicide to attempt to fly over them now. The worst is over, and they cross high above the perilous Andes. As the two curlews fly on, 50 miles away, orchids and cacti bloom vividly in the late South American summer. From here, the icy peaks through which the curlews had battled for their lives are merely picture postcard backgrounds for the lush tropical foliage. Here, life is easy under the warm sun of friendly skies. But on the rooftop of the Americas, 4 miles above the level of the sea, there is winter that never ends. Yet even here, where no living thing can long endure, life has left its mark. For the very rock of the mountain itself is composed of fossilized sea animals that had lived millions of years ago in a lost eon when continents were still unborn and even mountain peaks were but ridges on the ocean floor. The same hunger for life drives the curlews on, afraid to drop down through the clouds until there is some clue to what lies below. Now at last, they can see what is below, where they are flying, what lies ahead for them. The cloud valleys deepen, and then one of them drops sharply like the steep side of a mountain. It is no longer a valley, but a hole that cuts like a knife through the cloud. And the curlews can see the ground below them, far below them, nearly 3 miles, for the western slope of the Andes drops steeply to the Pacific. They had been silent throughout the long day, for the flight through the thin air required every ounce of strength their bodies could produce. But now, finally, there is hope. A place to land is in sight. At first, the air is too thin to give them enough braking power, and they plunge earthward, nearly out of control. But now, as the air grows firmer, it gives power and lift to their wings, and once more they can fly. Again, they are a part of Earth and life. Now the curlews join for the first time the multitude of other migrant birds flying northward to overtake the North American spring. The place, a beach at the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. Lapping at their feet, the Gulf of Mexico, the final stretch of water between them and the welcoming shores of Louisiana and Texas. Then beyond lies only the flat, unobstructed prairies, reaching nearly to the Arctic tundra and home. It is time to feed and store up energy for the last long flight.
This is a song about the way it used to be when we were one. Fly to the sun, fly to the sun, fly to the sun. This is the world the way it was for you and me. How free we glided in the shining air, only pure and lovely there. You and I flashing by in the sunshine. This is the song we thought would last until forever. You're gone away. You were a little while. The sounds of golden wings I remember, and I smile.
In less than a week, they cover 2,000 miles and cross the equator. March is almost here, and the Arctic tundra is still 6,000 miles away. But it calls them now with a fever and a fierceness that flags their aching muscles. Central America, moving north with springtime, pausing often to feed and to let their mounting emotions boil over in frantic displays of love. Soon they are moving up the Mississippi Valley, greening with cottonwoods and prairie grass. Now they have reached the rich farmlands of the north, and the end of the long journey is drawing near. Only a few more hours, and the male curlew will proudly bring his new bride to the Arctic home he has been holding for her for so long. He can't contain his happiness. This year, he has a mate, and there will be 3 or 4 baby curlews to fly south with them in the fall. A family. Before long, a flock.
This way, Mark. It's a jackrabbit run, all right.
Maybe you better go after him, Dad.
No, you'll be able to pull the trigger this trip. You've got to sharpen your eye if you're going to get your first buck this fall. Go get your rabbit, and I'll wait here.
Bird, Dad. It's been shot. It's dead.
Once, there were many thousands of Eskimo curlews. Then there were 2. Now there is 1. Soon, there will be none.